to the class if you cannot connect to, or re, re re-listen to it if you're not clear about what you have to do. Hello, Lester. So let me go ahead and share. Let me see that I stopped the transcript because I don't like this transcript. Okay, so this coming up task that you have, which is to be delivered next week. Remember that you have for this Thursday what we covered last week. And unless you have any questions, you can proceed and do it. And we won't see each other on Thursday. But, okay, we're going to see the next section is called Unit 2B. And we're still with listening, or the introduction to listening, okay? So you have here in resources, and everything should be available already on the platform, the document that you have to read in order to do your task, Introduction to Listening. But this is the core, this is the framework, this is it for listening, okay? You can watch here. There's a video. It's called Framework of Teaching Listening. Because on the previous unit, you saw bottom up, top down, which are activities that you can use in any type of skill, right? But this, as I said, this is it. In listening, we have a 3-step that I'm going to explain of activities that forms your actual listening activity. Okay, so it should be done like that. Okay, you have the pre-listening, the while listening, and the post-listening. So these are videos, complementary videos that you can watch along with the explanation that I gave, with this one that is like the whole thing, and your mandatory reading where you have to do your task. Okay. So let me go ahead and go to the explanation for today. And the this is it of listening. Okay. So here we go. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes. Yes, perfect. Yes, sure.
Okay, so as I said, a listening activity or the listening itself, when you're going to teach, it has three stages. Okay, the 3 stages is the pre-listening, the while listening, and the post-listening. Okay, you have one learning objective, and you have to divide it in 3 like sub objectives in order to accomplish what you want to teach with your listening. Okay, if you're teaching with a course book, for example, this one right here, all the course books now, they give you the listening activities. You don't have to think about them, okay? But sometimes the ones that they give you in the books, they are very boring. So I'm going to give you a wide variety of activities that you can learn in order to apply them when you're going to become a teacher, okay? So in there, when you look at the listening, because these books, they are divided in on the 4 skills plus grammar, okay, at the beginning for the teacher's book, okay? So it's easy to identify the 3 stages on the books that you get when you're going to teach. Okay, you may want to consider if you want to follow the plan that is on the book or make some changes to them, okay? In Meduca, you have a lot of parameters, but sometimes try to break a little from it and make it fun, especially on younger grades. At your grade, you don't want to play. At your grade, you just want to listen very quickly and go on your merry way, right? So that's what I give you. These stages are steps towards a mean or an ending purpose. For example, your objective is for students to learn a specific vocabulary. So the three stages, the pre, the while, and the post, have to center on that specific type of vocabulary that you're going to develop it by listening. So you have to focus on one learning objective. Okay? So, pre-listening. It is a short activity to introduce students to the objective or to the topic or the learning as itself that you're going to do in the whole class. Okay? The pre-listening, it helps a student familiarize with the track if you're going to put audio. Okay? They're going to look at the situation that is taking place, the speakers, and the different accents. So sometimes you're going to play a track or you're going to put a video that you're going to use for listening, and the person that are speaking is not the teacher. So the students don't have quite yet the accent, correct? Also, on pre-listening, you preview the task. You could have worksheets, and you also preview vocabulary if you're going to teach something else aside from vocabulary. On pre-listening, you can use bottom up, so you focus on the language, or you can do top down, where you use background knowledge in order to develop your activity. One specific thing about pre-listening is that you have to keep it brief. Set a clear task before the listening, but it cannot be a very long task, okay? Some examples of activities that you can develop as pre-listening are mind map, slideshows, KWL charts, like this one that you have, that is a page for a KWL chart, words on the board, discussion questions, discussion with mingle, gap filling, questions in general, exploring pictures, and recalling a dream. So, for example, you put this picture, doesn't look too well, but anyhow, you show them and they can identify, let's say that the lesson is going to be about a farm with animals and activities at a farm, so they can identify before the listening some words, so they can get accustomed to the words that you're going to use. So that's exploring pictures. Okay, all of these examples, or most of them, will be explained on the next unit, or you can look at them up yourself. Then, after you finish with the section of the pre-listening, you're going to go on the while listening. It is developed during the listening task. They are a series of activities that a learner does while listening to a passage to show their understanding of what they are listening to or what they heard. Okay? So the while listening is like the center of the three activities. Okay? Pre-listening is the preview, the main show is the while listening, and the post is like the gossip after the movie. Something like that. Okay? So the while listening is a longer activity. It can be done individually or in group. All of the three can be done individually or on groups, but it depends, and you have to be very aware of your students if you want to keep them in groups, uh, that they are speaking in English at all times. Okay? So, in while listening, you listen, or the student listens and performs the task. Some of these tasks can be guessed or getting the main ideas, detail or getting a specific ideas or information, or infer, go beyond what is written, beyond what they're listening to make questions like that. So it depends on the level of understanding of your student. If you get a guess, if you get detail, or if your listening is going to be unfair. Okay? If, and this is very important for all of you that have your cameras off, if your listening activity is going to be graded, you have to play the recording or you have to put the video 2 or 3 times, not only once. Okay? Playing it once is not for a graded activity. Okay? And you, as a teacher, should monitor your students' engagement. They are paying attention. Okay? So, some of the activities that you can develop on the while listening stage is listening for main ideas, listening for details, making inferences, correct errors, gap filling, like you have right over here, or filling the gaps, the same thing, definitions, multiple choice, like you have here, bingo, words from the board, and what's next. So, as I said, all of these activities I will go into detail when I explain the next class, but these are just in general. If you want to start looking what each one of the activities, or you may have applied already some of these activities. I mean, at least you have seen filling the gaps and multiple choice, right? And bingo, of course. And the last stage on listening is post listening. So post-listening activities consist of tasks which may aim is to help the students reflect on what they have listened, okay, on the actual recording, video, reading, whatever you did as a listening, okay? These activities are carried out as complement to the listening process. Okay, so post listening is a reinforcement, some type of verification that our goals as a teacher has been achieved. Okay, for example, introducing a new vocabulary. We introduce it or practice it on the pre listening. We do the actual activity of the vocabulary on the while listening, and in the post listening, you're going to verify that they really got the vocabulary. Okay, so you can use transcript for deeper analysis. Right now, I mean, in my times when I was your age and I try to teach listening, transcript nowhere to be found. Not even, I mean, you have Spotify. You only have to press a thing on a television and it gives you the subtitles in English. If I wanted to give transcript to my students, I had to go into internet when I was lucky, or before that, I had to do it by hand, get the song and write it down myself. Yep. So you're lucky that way. Okay. Set a speaking task related to listening. So you can tell them, now we're going to use the vocabulary that you learned. Okay, and you get them to do some kind of practice with that vocabulary. That's a post listening activity. This causes difficulties and confusion when they listened to the video, when they listened to the track, okay? If they got all the words correct, if their pronunciation, if they heard the correct pronunciation or not. And you can personalize, connect content to a student's lives, what they're living, what they're doing, okay? You can make up stories, right? Or have them share something from them where they introduce the new vocabulary. Or it depends. I mean, listening is not just to introduce vocabulary. We use it for a lot of different things. So some of the examples of activities that you can use in a post-listening stage, as I said, reviewing the transcript, quiz your classmates. You can get in a group and ask questions of what they listened. Quizzing teams, and then you do it in groups. What do you recall or what do you remember? And discussion. Okay, discussions are usually for not younger grades, but fifth, sixth grade on. But in discussions, as I said, you have to always, as a teacher, be checking. See, you were in high school, I mean, not in high school, in university level, and I still had to tell you in class, remember to speak in English. So, can you imagine the kids? Worst. Okay. So, revising the dialogue, review if the listening was about a dialogue. A gift, that's an activity that I will explain later. Interviewing Donnie is a very fun activity too. Spin-off, it's another activity. Or dicto gloss. Dicto gloss is like everybody writes what they listen to on the main recording, and they try as a group to write down as many things as they remember individually. And then together they try to put the whole story of what they listen together as one group. So these are some of the activities that you can do in a post listening. Do you have any questions on pre, while, or post listening? Are you clear on what they are? Okay. And are you clear that you cannot do just while listening and that's it? Blah, throw it on your face. And that's it. No, you have to prepare your students. And that you can do, I mean, it depends on the levels. Like in your case, maybe in listening, reading something beforehand. That was to prepare you for the while listening. Okay. And then answering question, it was the post listening. Okay. So it depends on the grade as well. Okay, one thing that you have to keep in mind, and I think I have said these over and over again, I don't know how many times, 1,000 times since we started fourth year. Okay, listening as adults, they don't learn the same way. Okay, it is the same in listening. The listenings that you're going to prepare for the children cannot be as complicated as they are for the adults. Okay? Children learn unconsciously and natural mimic. And that's one of the reasons why I always say you have to learn a very good pronunciation of the words. Because if you say Wednesday instead of Wednesday, your kids are going to keep saying Wednesday for the rest of their life. And believe me, I do still have problems with Miss and Mrs. I have to think about it when I want to say Miss or Mrs. And that's a fossilization that I have. And that comes from when I was a child. Okay? So, children learn based on many hours of input. So, everybody to learn English needs a lot of listening hours to get the vocabulary. Okay? We can see it as an example when we were learning in Spanish or your mother tongue. How many years did it take you to actually speak in Spanish? And you were 24/7 surrounded by Spanish all the time, right? So, like a year or so before you said correct sentences. And we still have problems with the correct sentences in Spanish sometimes, right? So, adults learn consciously because they want to, okay? Self-aware repetition. If you're supposed to be in fourth year, it's because you consciously want to learn, to consciously be good teachers, to consciously do a good work, to consciously help your students when you get to be teachers. Okay? So, adults' risk of errors and interference from L1. What does it mean? That the natural part of mimicking in children, adults, we are like so concerned about he watches instead of practicing and say he watch. Okay? We are very conscious and our mother tongue is there saying you're making an error, you're making a mistake. Okay, and that's why it takes us longer sometimes when we want to learn another language and we are adults. And adults can improve pronunciation with effort but demanding. So they say that usually when you learn the language when you're a child, your pronunciation is better. Yeah, it is. I'm not saying it's not. But if you practice your pronunciation when you are an adult, there'll be a time that you get a good pronunciation. But it depends on you and how much you work on it. Because the thing is that your tongue doesn't move as flexible when you're older than when you're a kid. Okay? So that's why it's a little more demanding, the learning of English or speaking. So remember, when learning, your students will focus on comprehensive inputs or things that they understand. So you cannot throw like a whole bunch of new words all at once. Combine new words with old words. Okay? Provide engaging, meaningful experiences, especially in younger grades. Okay? At this level, I don't have to be too engaging. I can be meaningful, but not too engaging. I cannot tell you, go ahead and dance the hokey pokey with me because you're going to look at me. What happened to Professor Lily? She having a breakdown or what? Okay. Adults need abundant exposure like kids. It's not like you don't have to do a lot of activities. Yes, you have to do a lot of activities because the more activities you do, the more engaged you are. Okay? The more engaged you are, you keep working on it. Okay? There are students that are autonomous and you don't have to do a lot of engaging, but usually everybody needs abundant exposure to the new language. So if you're not listening to music in English and you're only listening to bachata or reggaeton in Spanish, go ahead and change it to English. Okay. Implicit learning often more effective than forced repetition. So when you give them something to do, when you give them something to play with, when you tell them a silly story, okay? Is better than if you go, okay, students, this word is learning. Everybody repeat it. Learning. Now, okay, it may work once, but you have to do it that repetition with something effective, something engaging. And our learning depends on our group age. Okay, we have to teach some way to younger generations that that we teach to older generations. And remember the tree of English. Every type of English is taught differently. Okay, I don't teach to UTP. I don't speak to them everything in English. Okay, because I mean their head is full with calculus and physics and whatever, and there I come with just English and they're gonna shut down. So I speak half and half. Okay, so make sure that you are meaningful in your teaching, you are engaging when you teach, you are effective, and above all, create a lot of exposure for your students. Any questions, kids, children?
No, teacher.
Brothers and sisters from another mother? No? Okay. So your activity of Unit 2, it will be the same as the one that you did for A, or that you should be delivering on this Thursday. Let me go ahead and stop this sharing and go to the activity. Okay, so you will develop a PowerPoint presentation, Canvas, whatever you want, comparing the three stages of listening activities. Okay, explain of a present. I was thinking, I don't know what there. Explain on the presentation this comparison. I will fix that in a minute. Okay, for each stage, research online an example of a video which supports this listening stage. Okay, meaning one video examples for each of the following to produce listening. So one video for pre-listening, one video for while listening, one video for post-listening. You don't have to do anything with those videos. Just look for an activity that is done online that exemplifies that game. Okay, for example, Dicto class, post listening. You share the link. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to do just one slide comparing the three stages, and then the other slides is just to share. Okay, one video of pre-listening, not explaining pre-listening, doing an activity of pre-listening. Not you, someone else. Another video for while listening. Another video for post listening. Short videos. Don't have me here like half an hour, okay? Or if you find one that has all the three stages, you can also do that, okay? Your participation is between 5 to 15 minutes, so that includes the amount of time that I have to watch those videos, okay? The pre-listening, the post-listening, and the while listening. Okay, so not long. And your delivery must be done with a link to YouTube or Canvas or even or from Teams. Make sure that your link is complete and is also accessible. Other deliveries will be too heavy to send. Okay? So the only thing that you're going to explain is the comparison. Okay? The others are just activities of each one of the stages that you're going to find from YouTube, from whatever page, and you are just going to share the link. You can put it in one slide, put activities, free, share the link, while, share the link, post, share the link. And that's it. Gloria, hallelujah, we're finished. Hey, hey. Okay, so this is for next Thursday. So as I told you, I'm not going to be assigning to you anything for the same week. It will be for the week after, okay? So the task of 2 is due this Thursday. These that are explained, it will be due next Thursday. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and also ask me before that, but you should already have pretty much finished the presentation and don't leave it for the last minute. Right, Nathaniel? Nathaniel, you're driving and falling asleep? No? Okay. All right. So you have available everything already. This is a mandatory reading, okay? This is what you can read about everything. All of the other 4 are just video, complementary video explaining what I just explained, but you may want to listen to it, okay? And you have here task 3, okay? I posted here, okay, the things that you have to keep in mind in order to do your final exam, okay? It will be I think I already said, like a learning journal, okay? So these are the aspects you must include on, it's a reflective journal, sorry, not learning. So topic of the class, activity that we develop, and this is where you focus. What did I learn? What problems did I face when developing the activity or task? How did I overcome the problems I faced when developing the activity or task? And then just put the link of what you did. So if you want to start at least like a draft, and then when I tell you the format, you could go ahead and put it in the format that I wanted. But I wanted to give you heads up so you don't leave it for the last day. Remember, it's a reflective journal, but a final exam. All right? So you have it there, and you can look at it and start developing, not just look at it. All right? So any questions for this unit 2B? No? Just me? Questions? No? Arlene?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Professor.
Cristel. Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, I would like to know when we made that comparison between the three stages. Um just want us to post the three stages, the link, and that's it. We start explaining the difference between each one.
Yep. Just explain the difference between the three stages. That's it. And find an activity that exemplifies each of the stages. That's it. I'm not
Okay,
I'm not gonna ask a lot this semester. All right. I know you're having a hard time somewhere else. So
okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. As long as you know there are three stages and you know how to apply them, and you know that on internet there are a lot of activities that you can get from there to use it later on. That's it. Okay? Kerube, questions?
No, everything is clear.
Okay. All right. So the video will be up in a few minutes, hopefully. And nice to see you. You have the rest of
Nice
the
to
class to develop your task. All right?
thank you,
So,
teacher.
Teacher, a
yes.
Bye,
question.
teacher.
Yes, Wilberto, tell me.
Teacher, after the task number 3, we finish it with that.
We finished with listening, kind of. We have Unit 2C, which is Activity 3, and the Unit 3, which is instructions for the midterm one. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
You're very welcome. Yep, everything is there. I just have to make it available and explain it, and then you have to do the work. And you're done. All right, guys. Have a good night. You take care.
Bye,
Good
teacher. Thank
night.
you.
Take
See
care.
you,
See
teacher.
you.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.